Hi, Amit. Good evening. Hi, guys. Good evening. We still have 5 minutes, so I'm gonna put myself on mute and let hi Vivek. Good evening. In between, like if you can like retweet or something so that more people can join in. Hi, Jamie. Yes, I'm a little better. Yes, thank you very much. Hope you also had a great weekend. Uh, in between, market looks amazing. It's going on and on and on. Let's do some scan in between. So I'm looking at inside day first. On so I have Zscaler as inside day, Humana as inside day. Humana is looking a little tricky. It's also like a hanging man. Uh, Target is inside day, Zscaler. In my list, I do want to get rid of JP Morgan. It has done its job. PayPal has done its job. Uh, I do want to include MU instead of PayPal because PayPal has done the job. So MU is right there now. I'm going to just delete this. And these are tickers. If we find time, we'll talk about Coin, Dash, and Humana. They all have hammer and hanging man, especially Humana. Humana looks a little sluggish. Let's look at any of the weekly inside bars. Amazon, Netflix, they are inside weeks. Amazon is inside week. Netflix is hanging man and inside week. This does not look like a nice combination. But we are towards 48, 41, 48, 70 now. We crossed all these numbers very solidly. So we need to just check. Let's check on bullish candle patterns, which include hammer, morning star, morning dodgy star. In my list, it's only coin. Coin has a hammer, which I've already made a note. Uh, Bearish, I don't see anything bearish on the charts. Nope. Anything crossing 12 and 34 on daily. They are nothing new. MongoDB. MongoDB and DKNG looks good. So we can check on MongoDB. In between, you have anything else in the tickers? Because today we have time, we can talk, we can figure out more if we want to. I don't want to include JPM, so I'm going to delete it. I'm not sure why. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Why the one second data? Intel. Okay, Intel looks good. INTC. We can talk about Intel for sure. Hi, Vani. All right, we can talk about more tickers. Let me just see how many of them are there. We have 15. So we have some space if you want to talk about more tickers. I do want to include Coin and MDB. Let me just see if I can add Doc N. Let me just make a note. All right, let's start and we can add them one by one. So this is ES futures have opened and it's about 7-8 points up right now. We have broken higher and we are almost outside the range of this regression channel, which is there since let me just skip 5 years, which was there since we made the lows of 3,600 something. So since then we are almost at the top. We have made a new high. Here the future looks nice and solid. Now we need to be careful of few things here. We are going into an uncharted territory. Okay, and for that, I'm just gonna make a new uh, uh Fibonacci area. This area is a gap. Now this gap may be filled quickly, may not be filled quickly. Now expectations from earnings are there. The market has already moved up, especially all the tech sector has moved solidly up. So we need to be very careful here, figuring out that yes, what will be the next big move in these? Because a little disappointment can be really bad. Good numbers may be already priced in. Like for example, SMCI, they wanted to run onto the AI and chip movement. That's why they came 1 week early and they declared their guidance uh, like about 1 billion higher on each of those parameters. Now, what was the need of that? SEC should be looked into that because we have SMCA earnings coming into this week. Now, if they cannot wait, it means there was something planned or insider trading which led them to do this. So I'll be careful if they come and do an offering right at the time of earnings. So be careful on that because the price was pumped really solid. Okay, and right now if you look at the futures, 48.80, almost there. My target is 49.85, which I mentioned because we were holding 48.20. And yesterday, not yesterday, Friday, we had a massive bull candle, which was outcome of this bullish engulfing candle on Thursday. Now, we just need to be careful that yes, if things come back and test, that will be a really good entry point. If you are having some positions over the weekend, that may be good, especially on the chip side, because chip sector is really, really solid. And you can see that already Nasdaq is up about 60 points. So this is a new bull market, which is right there on the chip side. Don't need to short that. Just try to buy the chips, especially AMD, Nvidia, AVGO, MU, Intel, whatever chip you want, just buy them on the dips. If it fails, we'll see. Right now, there's no pointer showing it as a fail, or there's like AI is real, that is for sure. The amount of growth we have been projecting, as per all these companies, is exuberant. So just see whether that exuberance matches with the real numbers. All right, just to now draw some new levels, I'm going to go and create a Fibonacci extension. I'm going to use 4668 because this was the last area of Fibonacci as well as the last area of my regression channel. where it found the support. So I'm going to go here, then go to the latest high, second latest, and then the lows. Now, people who do not draw extensions, you need to understand that you are here trying to figure out the next move. Okay, so when next move is there, you need to be very careful on uh, creating these extensions. Now we just need to, I'll be just clicking on this and putting everything just to the point. The low is 4652. I'm just gonna start that. The high here is 4841.5. And the low here is 4702. I just do this so that the values which come out gives me much more clarity. So 4819, 4820 came out to be an area of 61.8 Fibonacci. And we all saw that we struggle around 4820 area. So this looks good. On the way back, 4750, 4747 provided a good stop, and it was 23.6 Fibonacci, so it's good. So for me, this Fibonacci looks good. The 12 EMA is looking solid. Hovering just, we have a test Friday almost, so it should be fine. We are at 4879. 4850 is a good stop loss. So as I said, I do not want to rush into this position. Usually when we cross 61 and we cross 78, next target is 100%, which is 4891. So I'm interested to buy that. Once we clear 4891, I don't see any issue whatsoever to hit 5,000. So momentum wise, everything is DMI is really positive. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, everything is positive. So DMI is positive. ES is 2, 2, because we just opened. So I'm going to change that on NASDAQ as well as on ES. DMA state is positive. Now, I want a stop loss, which is 4750. Okay. So again, 4850, sorry. 4850 is the actual stop loss. If you look at the chart, 4850 is a 78.6 Fibonacci percentage. This was a breakout. This is a good number as well. So tomorrow or overnight, if we come across this number, I would love to add long here. I do not want to go short, but I would love to have a dip and let it come around this area so that I can buy. So if I have a 10.4850 is my stop loss, I want to buy in dip 4860.65 so that I have 10-point stop loss. So if it comes to 4860, 4865, that's where I want to buy so that this could be my stop loss. Now, if you really are interested to short, then you should be looking at 4820. I will not be shorting at this area because we just made an all-time high, and when we have all-time high, there's no need to go short unnecessarily. Market momentum is really solid. It will only give you an opportunity to buy the dip. If you try to short it, you will get hurt really bad. So once you clear this area is 4891 as my first target, which is a good 1% move. And we had a solid move on Friday. So we may chop also. That's why I do not want to aggressively go open and go long. I want to wait for a dip. If it dips, that will be a good area. Once we clear 4891, the next resistance, I don't even see it like 49, 90, 85. So once we clear this area, we're upping for almost 5,000 break. 5,000 will be a amazing resistance. It's a very big number. It should provide you a very like solid resistance or profit booking area. So comment just made ATH. Bullish momentum is high. Don't fight trend. Now, if again, like there will be opportunities where you want to go short, try a short if you lose 48.50. That could be a failed breakout. I don't know what's happening. View. Hmm. So 48.50 is the area you can go short. Keep a stop loss of 48.55. Your target area will be around the 12 EMA. Again, I'm not suggesting you to go short, but if you still have uh, like this is the area where you need to short so that you can hit this 48.20-ish and 47.96. This will be extremely solid buying area. That's what I'm saying. It's up to you whether you want to short here or you want to wait for the dip. When you enter on a right price, you will definitely exit on a better price. So here, top loss is there, 48.20, 47.98. That's my view on ES. They do not make any of these patterns, so everything is as is. Let's look at the book map. Right now, there's not much on the order book because the Sunday evening session just started. But just having a glance on what's there on the book map. You can see the number of buyers is like 2,003, 2,300, 2,400. Not much. There was a volume right there. So let's see what we. You can see that 48.65, 48.70, we have some massive buying opportunities. Look at the number of lots, 121, 120, 150, 127. These are some heavy buying on a Sunday session. Look at the sellers. It's only 119, and after 48.90, you have like back to back of this. So opportunity is when it comes right here, you buy. When it goes here, you sell. If you try in between, you will get chopped. So better to wait and watch around this number. This looks really, really good. So going back here, we have defined the levels for ES, which is good. Let's go for NQ. Exactly same structure, NQ. The breakout, so same, we have the same similar gap. This gap is for the futures. So this gap we need to address, but this looks really good to me. If I go and do the same exact setup, draw a extension, again, right click on edit properties. Again, this is a step which you may or may not prefer, but I like to do it just because it gives you a kind of satisfaction that yes, the numbers are correct. Okay, done. So this is like we're almost near the 17,800 is looking like a target. DMI is looking solid. High Kenichi state we have already taken. So the same thing. Bullish momentum is really high. No need to fight the trend. Let's find out the stop loss. Now, the real stop loss is 250, which is like almost 250 points away. So nobody's going to have that kind of stop loss. So what we do in this kind of thing is we use a candle called piercing candle. I'm gonna just cancel the right extension so that we have clear. So what I do is I take the length of this candle and divide by half, roughly. So that's a good area to add or short, certain 17,300. But right now we're almost 200 points away and we are above the Friday's high. So at this point, a little risky, but if you want to go, better to cross 17,525. So here I would say buy above 7,525. I'm gonna keep a stop loss of 17,450 and target is just taking round numbers, 17,600 because there's no actual number coming out from this zone. We are already like in a zone where we have totally blank, no resistance. So I'm just taking round numbers as a piece of resistance. If you want to short, again, short below 17,300. If we lose below 300, only then try shorting it. Otherwise, the best is just buy in the dip. If you get 400, 420, buy towards that area. Target 17,245 and then the 12 a.m. 17,050. 17,055 or 60 will be an extremely good area to buy. Similar to like 4,800, 1760 will be extremely good area if you are looking to buy. Okay, that's about NQ. Let's go to Apple. Apple, last time we discussed, it was right there. It again tested that area, bounced, and it has filled the gap. There was a massive gap which was created. It has filled the gap. So Apple looks to me a good setup going into earnings. And Apple have hardly failed on the earnings. So I think it may run into the earnings as well. Also, let me just open Black Box and see if we have Apple. I'm going to check flows for all these big tickers just to make sure if we have anything interesting. So this is Apple. I'm looking at 126. These are put buying between 165.40, 165.40. These are spreads. And these are like very nominal dollar amount. Only $2,000, $2,500. It's not much. Let me just filter this with something greater than 2,000. So Apple, again, this was of last week. There's a good put buy right here, but that's for 2025, 600,000 for 150. and a corresponding call buy as well of 535,000. These are calls which are calendar spreads, I think. These are calendar spreads, yes. 190 put, 1.2 million, 7 million. There's a call of, this looks really interesting call. Yep. 2 to 187.5 calls. That's about 8 million. This is an interesting call. So I'm gonna mention we have 2 calls into Apple. 2 to 187.5C at 4.4 and 3.75. It's like $8.3 million. See, this gives you confidence that there's a $8.3 million call buying. Okay. Now let's look into the levels. We this time I think we will clear 200 on Apple, and right now we have filled the gap. So this gap's lower area, you can take 191 as your stop loss on Apple. So 191 is the stop loss. DMI is still negative. It's showing negative. The Heikeneishi state, I did check for Apple is +2, which is correct. EMA state is negative. Now let's go into the chart. The good stop loss is 189.5, not 199, 189.5. If you want to buy around 190.91. If you get this, do not miss it. Target 193.25. And then we are going towards this area, which is 196. Call buying also fill the gap. When you have filled the gap, it gives you some level of positivity that yes, I am actually interested to go long. So Apple looks good to me. It's at 191. We are looking at around 190, 191 area. If it comes, we'll go and we'll jump. Okay. Adobe. Adobe is ready, and it's also going into the gap fill. This was the gap which was created. Now you see this was all negative price action. All of that negative price action was covered in a single bullish candle. It moved $17 on Friday, almost $18, and it's ready for a big move higher. Now we have derived the levels, but we do not have like it is still below its long-term levels. So I'm going to clear this chart and I'm going to draw some new regression channel as well as a new Fibonacci extension. Okay, so this is a chart 1 year. I'm going to draw a regression channel first. We'll go right from here all the way. So you see in the regression channel, it is following in a channel, which is good. Now we need to find the next level of Fibonacci. So I'm going to go here, pick up Fibonacci extension, used this one because this tested the regression channel bottom, went on to make the top, came here at the September. Same, I'm going to click edit properties, check the right numbers. Low is 50692. I'm going to correct that. High is 633.89. And low here is 563.34. That is my Fibonacci area. Now, look exactly, it closed at the 38.2 Fibonacci area. Okay, if we clear this, we should be hitting 641 in a straight line. So Adobe is setting up really nicely. In between, it will fill the gap, which is at 618. I think it's one of the good setups going into Monday. So Adobe, it has turned neutral, and ADV Aikinishi is 0. Aikinishi is 0, neutral, yes. So I want to make a stop loss of this previous area 608, 608.5. I want to buy above 614. And it looks good for 626.80. And 641.80. I also want to include CRM, but the number of tickers are so many that it becomes difficult. Almost near to fill the gap at 618. Must clear 38.2 fib at 611.85. That's why I am buying above 614. That's Adobe. AMD was 180, my target. It almost is around that area. Now, this is some vertical move. And with chip stocks, this vertical move is uh, right now happening. So I'm going to just change and figure out some new levels. I'm going to activate this and I'm going to move it. Cancel the extension. Activate drawing, and I'm going to move it to right this point. Now, in this case, I'm going to cancel my Fibonacci. Just make sure the chart is clear. I'm going to start from here and see what are the next level of reactions. So it closed right at a very important resistance. Once it clears that, I think even this Fibonacci will not work. I may need to choose some other Fibonacci. Let me just try Fibonacci from here where we had the crossover started. So I'm going to start from here, close to this line. Make edit properties, same. And I'm going to check the low, 93.12. Then go to the midpoint, which is 151.05. And then the low point, 133.74. I think this should give me a good Fibonacci area. And let's break it down into 30 minutes just to check if this Fibonacci is fine. So Friday, we found the support at 162.70. We got resistance at 169. Once we cleared that, we just hit. Before that, 155, we found good support. So this seems to be a fine Fibonacci level. So I'm gonna use this. So whenever you are creating a Fibonacci, make sure you test it so that it looks appropriate. Now here we are above 1.8 Fibonacci. So 169.50 will be my stop loss. AMD is doing really solid, but I'm just gonna keep stop loss of 169. Area 179.25. Friday in the last 20 minutes, it moved $3-4. So I really don't know whether it's gonna survive that or not. 191.65. So I'm gonna buy this in the dip towards 170, 72. If it dips here, I'm gonna be a buyer. But remember, they have seen extreme good runs, so be careful on chip stocks. Amazon started to break out on Friday, and it almost closed on a Fibonacci of 61, exactly similar to Adobe. So it has seen a morning star pattern from here, or it's roughly inverted head and shoulders, not a clean one. But if you see, it went up, we came there, we went up, came there, went up, came down there, we went up. So this is inverted head and shoulders. So for me, I think Amazon is next leg breakout here, which may take it to, again, let's draw some new levels. There's so many levels which are there. So I'm going to cancel all the extensions and draw some new levels. So from here, this was the day of earnings. And again, just setting up the right numbers from my own preference. Middle point is 149.26. Starting point is 118.35, which is good. End point is 142.81. So this is all. I'll be posting this sheet on Twitter and in my Telegram channel. So this looks good to me. It's an inverted head and shoulders. So Amazon is inside week plus inverted head and shoulders. So I'm going to mention here is inverted head and shoulders. Breakout above 38.2% fair. Let me just check the flow for Adobe. Adobe, like 740 calls are there, about 2000. And that's about it. AMD, I think, will be much more. AMD 172.5 puts were sold. This gives you cushion. Yeah, yes, it is going to be solid positive. So I'm going to mention here for AMD, 172.5. Puts were sold, so extreme positive. I cannot do the charts because then I have to go into Twitter and post everything one by one. I'm just putting everything into this Excel sheet and I'll post this information so that you can use. And Amazon, this is a little tricky. This is 170. This is definitely a put writing. This may be a trade from way back, like 25 million. $130 calls. They were added. Again, a 4 million trade. 132 call. Right now it's like at 155, so a little interesting. So good flow, good positive flow. I'm just going to mention it. Then go to BA. BA finally bounced, uh, and it's a morning star going into the gap. I think it will fill the gap and will test this area. The news was not uh, like so great for BA, but as of now, over the weekend, do we have Boeing staffers had new risk? I really don't know what's going to happen. So Boeing we can remove for now. Let's add Baba. Baba had a massive bullish engulfing on Friday. So I'm going to take Boeing and add Baba. It's a bullish engulfing candle. And the movement in Baba was strong. And it happened right at the bottom of this range. The DMI is neutral. DMI is neutral. High Kinishi, let me just check on Baba. High Kinishi is 0. So it may be something which can happen in Baba. So if we look at Baba's chart, stop loss should be 69. And target should be 71.25 and 73.85. And you can buy it near 69. I will take it to 68.50. And let's look at Baba's flow. The Baba flow is 65. Like if you look at this 65 put calls, they started at 500, 500, 580, 586, 605, 630, 645. And I think it kept on moving higher. In the end, let's see where it closed. It closed at 745. So this means that yes, the open interest was added. These are getting accumulated, which is interesting. Even if it is showing B, these are getting accumulated for March. Let's look at, I don't want the spread, 70 calls. It started at 1056, 1170, 1185. This looks good. So positive call flow in Baba. Google, Google is about to hit its all-time highs of 150. It's right there at 146.20-ish area. If it clears that, I would expect 155 on Google. And it's like ascending pattern, like where we see we go up, we make higher highs, we also make higher lows. Now, with earnings, whether it draws down, I don't know, but this is an ascending wedge. For now, I'm gonna just consider for this week. We have earnings next week. May consolidate after a good range. This was a morning star pattern. So if it comes to 144.60, that's a good stop loss. Buy above 146.20. Target, if I go back to 5 years, $149, $151. 149, 151.55. That's for Google. IWM is red. Google is green. Just check Amazon. So IWM is red. Otherwise, its Haikinishi state is also 0 and IWM. Let's look at the 12 and 34. 12 and 34 is fine. It needs to clear 193.25. If it does, then it's good. So IWM buy above 193.25. If it does, then 197. Stop loss in this case is 191.60. Target 197.50. And 201. That's IWM. It needs to hold here. Once it clears it, it may go straight. And with all the big companies showing a really solid move, this may do a catch up. So 193.25 could be a good area. Then we have Intel. Intel needs to clear 48.50. If it does, we should see all-time highs on Intel. So Intel all-time highs are really high. 69, yes. So Intel has a lot to catch up, similar to NU. So 48.50 for Intel. Intel is green. Let's look at Intel High Kinishi. 0. If you are interested in short, IBM is a hanging man with Netflix. Humana is also a hanging man. 48.50. Look for 49.60, 51. Stop loss should be 47.35. Meta is ready to break its all-time highs. 384.33 was my Fibonacci area. It hit right that number, and now it's right there. Meta has been phenomenal. It's run. Again, it's making an ascending wedge on the longer term patterns. It's an ascending wedge. If it breaks down on earnings, I will not be surprised. Similar to Google, they have earnings going into the next week. If they break down, I will not be surprised. These are all ascending wedges. The move in these companies have been phenomenal. So any weakness in the earnings or the guidance will kill them. So I'll be very careful while playing earnings for them. I'm just mentioning on Google, it is setting up for an ascending wedge. And people who do not know ascending wedge, let's look at that. You can clearly see it's going up and then it breaks down. It can, this is what is happening. This is not what is happening. It's ascending, it's going up. The lows are getting sharply cut, the highs are not sharply cut. So similar structure is in ascending wedge, which is happening in Google as well as in Meta. So I'm just mentioning this as a red mark that if you're playing for earnings, be careful. So Meta in journal, again, we are coming into an area where we have to draw some new levels. So I'm gonna start new Fibonacci. I'm gonna cut everything here. Even we'll delete this. I'm gonna use this one. Let's take it to this point. So 391, 405 is possible on Meta. If it, again, I'm saying they earning wise, these are the comments. As of now, there is nothing negative on Meta. Stop loss is 381.35. These stocks have rallied so much that again, any failure can lead to a bad downside. Then we have Microsoft. Microsoft will open above 400 for sure. Oh, there was a negative news on Microsoft. Again, Microsoft rally has been phenomenal, but whether it is going to translate, because they may grow earnings maybe by 1 billion or 2 billion, but their market cap has gone parabolic up to 500, 600 billion just from this. So I'm a little cautious on Microsoft at this time, but yes, it will touch 400, one or two, just to test the 3 trillion point, and then it may retrace. So I am not gonna go long on Microsoft. I am actually making a short on Microsoft. The DMI is really solid on Microsoft, and it's two. Let me just check the flow. Let's also check flow. Intel, the 3470 calls. Yeah, good flow. Meta, you can see that for 370, the calls are being sold. 385 calls are being sold. 385 puts, this is, I think this is a premium meter. This is again a spread, calendar spread. It's mostly on the spread side. But this is a good trade. It's a spread between 395 and 330. Again, that's what I'm saying. There's a possibility of a cool off. Aditya, we already did PayPal last week. So PayPal already reached my target of 66. So I'm not confident on Meta's flow as of now. Let's look at Microsoft. Microsoft is 390 selling, not much dollar amount. 380 calls. This looks good. These puts like 495 calls are bought. That's a big trade. 495 calls. 12,925. This is only one off, but this is a good big trade. Same thing as the 405 puts are bought. Not a, I need something. Otherwise, majority of them is white. 350 calls are being sold. Maybe rolled over to something, but 350 calls were sold. 517. This is some heavy selling. Let's see. Just keep an eye on this. The wall open interest was 6866. If you want to note, and if tomorrow in the morning, if there's hardly any open interest in this, it means somebody closed 350 very heavily. So they are not interested to carry 350 calls for May, which is a sign that yes, yep, 390 puts are there. Yep, 390 puts are there. So Microsoft, I don't know. I am a little confused on Microsoft. What do you think about Microsoft? Should we try long? Because stop loss is 385. I don't know what to do in this case. Let me draw some other levels. I'm gonna try and draw some new Fibonacci levels. $394, 402. That's where I am aiming. So let's do one thing. Let's make it a neutral Microsoft. Um, Stop loss is 394.25. I'm gonna mention sell below 394.25. 350 March calls were sold. Check OI. 400, 403. Buy and dip 396.97. Now Netflix is an inside week as well as a hanging man, which is never a positive sign. It's trying to hold this area again. It's a ascending wedge. We are not able to clear this red line at all. Failed 3 times. Bouncing off right here. The moment we lose this time, it can go down all the way. But be careful here. Earnings are very speculative. So I'll be a little cautious. If it holds 475 into the earnings, then it's good. Otherwise, it's gonna be really mess. And if Netflix starts to hit the negative sentiment on the tech earnings, it carries on. So right now it's a hanging man. It's a inside week. If you look at the weekly candle, it's inside week. We are holding this line very nicely. So 475, if it holds, good. Otherwise, we may see 420 on Netflix. Let me see if I have any flow on Netflix. Yeah, 430 calls are being sold and 560 calls were being bought for this week. That's here 480 puts were sold. This is a 600,000 trade, 480 put and 560. 470 puts were sold, 460 calls. These are all negative trades. 470. This is also a negative trade. This is a negative trade. This is a negative trade. This is a positive trade. These are negative trades. This is a positive trade. This is a negative, positive trade. So little flow on both sides on Netflix. So I'm gonna wait on Netflix. For now, Netflix is a hanging man on daily. We have like a small body on the top, small like we have a small body tested the trend channel. So 475 is my stop loss for Netflix. The moment it loses 475, you can go short. Sell below 475. Target is 492 and 504, which is fine. Buy near 480. I will say buy near. If it dips, Buy near 476 to 78 or above 485. Nvidia, the super duper stock. This stock has like, I've not seen anything like this in my life. I'm gonna just remove everything from here. This was the gap which was created in the earnings, and since then it was stepping up, and stepping up, and now breakout. So I'm gonna draw something new all the way from this point onwards. Let's draw the regression channel right from here. It's like Tesla of last 2 years. Tesla did exactly same, and then later on Tesla filled all the gaps from 400 all the way to 100. This can happen, but as of now, it doesn't look like. I'm just checking whether these values are making sense. We're finding the support, finding the resistance at 38, finding the resistance 61, 100%, 595. 640 is the next target on Nvidia. Buy over 595. 590. Psychological 600. 640. That's Nvidia. MU. MU, I think is much better play than Nvidia. And this looks nice. So I'm actually looking into MU. Above 88, I'm going to jump on MU. Nvidia MU is green. Nvidia DMI should be green as well. Yes. Netflix is green either as well. Buy above 88. Look for 89 and 93. So if I missed out Nvidia, I'm looking forward for MU. Tesla, one of the biggest disappointers. Let's look at Nvidia. Nvidia flow is like relentless, like AMD. It should be 450, 575, like 600, 600. Yep, flow is good. MU, MU flow is 90. Looks good. Tesla, everyone's hot favorite. Like, I really don't know how will Tesla perform. Let's look at the chart first. So Tesla is at 208, which is a very important Fibonacci area of 261. It went away from the regression channel. Finally, it came down. Like if you see from a long term, this is a descending wedge. It may come out to be a very positive trade. But looking at the macroeconomics, looking at the fundamental, looking at the kind of discounts Tesla is giving, I am not able to figure out how would it is going to make profit. I will not be surprised if it actually end up in a very tight margin this time. So I'm actually worried if we lose 208 on Tesla, we have some humongous gaps to fill. We have 160, 145, 1 to 52, and many gaps which needs to be filled. Momentum is clearly negative on Tesla. The 12 and 34 are right there. 208 is, it may happen, it may bounce into the earnings, and then at the earnings, it may disappoint really badly. But if you're a buyer, 208 is your stop loss. Sell below 208 for 165. EMA is negative, and 200 is my stop loss. Buy about 213.50. The stop loss is high, about $5.50, but 226 is something I'm eyeing. 219 and 226. If it does that at the time of earnings, I'll be shorting this really solidly. Everything is negative. For that reason, I'm just looking for a retest of 12 EMA going into the earning. Then UPST, I did mention that there is some positive flow, which is coming into UPST. It's a bullish engulfing candle, looking good. If we can clear, or I would say hold 32, it's zero, or it's red. 1 second for Tesla, it's red. See, red and this. This becomes so negative that there is a possibility it may bounce. It's oversold at this time. All right. So possibility is there on Tesla for a bounce for 226. That's why I mentioned. But on earnings, if we are taking a trade, I have no reason to believe that yes, it may post some positive numbers. Oops. The UPST 32 is there, and uh, 0. Let's look at the chart of UPST. We need to clear Friday's high. So 33.25, I really want to buy above that. If we clear 33.25, 35, and then going into the gap of 38, 35 and 38, 35 and 38 are possible. That's my list of tickers. So guys, I'm going to go on these 3 tickers as well because the list is already long. I may not include them into the list, uh, but I'm going to invite you all onto the YouTube to Zoom chat. Come and we can discuss more charts. We have time today, so we can discuss more charts. I've shared the Zoom link. You can come and join. And once you're here, we can also talk about other tickers. So let's look at coin. Coin is a hammer. Coin is definitely a hammer right at the bottom. It looks really interesting to me. It's well away from the 12 and 34. So possible bounce towards 129, towards 140 is there. Let's look at coins flow if we see anything interesting. 125 calls were sold. 95 puts were also sold. 120 puts were sold. This is for last week only. You see 140 puts are sold. So possible bounce is there on coin. Guys, Tarun, you can come onto the Zoom and then we can talk. Dash. So coin is a hammer, which is a positive setup. Dash. Dash has done a beautiful, let me just draw a chart for it. 51 to write this point. Ten to the right. Let's make Fibonacci here. So this is a dash chart. It closed right above 38. So with Uber, I think Dash can also do really well. 110, 114 is possible on Dash. Then I think there was Humana. Humana had a hanging man. It's an inside day, not a hanging. Ignore Humana. So PayPal, guys, if you want to speak, just raise your hand and then we can talk. We had PayPal. PayPal was a breakout. We did 64 calls. It almost hit 66. Close around that corner, which is a 23.6 Fibonacci. Above this, we should be looking at 70, 74 on PayPal. It's inverted head and shoulders for PayPal, a massive one. 61, 66 above, there's a gap. And there's supposed to be an announcement which is coming from CEO. So I don't know what it is, but this is a good gap going into PayPal.
Yeah, I think it's Ironman.
If you want to speak, just raise your hand so that I know who's speaking.
Oh, sorry.
DDD is also looking good. It needs to clear 67. Once it clears 67.50, I think it will have more legs towards 72, 75 DDD. So guys, anybody wants to speak on Zoom, you can just speak. I'm done with all the items on. Oh, Ulta is one left. Let me just check. Ulta. Ulta is right here. Ulta is a bearish engulfing candle. Doesn't give me a good structure here. The loss of 470 or 469 can lead to a massive downside. The 469 must hold for Ulta. Ulta looks bad. It's not a weekly double bull. Yes, then go ahead, speak.
Baji, can you look at trade desk? It has
I just
been.
did. I just covered TTD.
Oh, sorry, I missed it.
I'll do it again. 1 second. This is not a. This is again like a descending wedge on Ulta. It must hold 469. Otherwise, it's going to go down really badly. Because bull flag is something like this. But this is a flat where it means it's trying to hold here. So it's not making higher lows, which is a little tricky. So I'm a little cautious on Ulta. 469 loses, it will be bad. TTD. TTD is a hammer, as I said. Look for 72 and 75. That's what if you were looking at.
Yes, I was thinking it's ready to go up.
It is, but like IWM should perform in order for these stocks to show some, or the big stocks have to like cool off a little. If the big stocks are not cooling off, then people will not jump into these stocks.
Right.
Is there
Yeah.
hello?
Karan, you have anything to say? Tarun, you have anything else?
No,
Yeah,
thank
hi.
thank
Okay.
Hi, Naval.
Hi,
So
Karan.
you mentioned something about coin puts are being sold. So can you
Yes,
just
fine.
go
Look
over some?
bullish to me.
But can you just help us understand what's your like? How do you determine what is being sold versus like for example put being bought? How do you distinguish between
Yeah,
those?
that is just looking at the, like for example, coin is right there. Okay.
Right.
You just need to check, let's say 120 puts. These were on Friday. Okay. I'm just giving you an example.
Okay.
Now, it was at 118.6.
Okay.
And look where it closed. So if this person has sold, okay, the price should go down from that point onwards. Price of that option. IV should
Right.
also go down.
Right.
So if IV was going down, price was going down, that means it was sold. And end of the day, these will be zero.
Okay.
So this person would have made 600,000 just by shorting them.
Okay.
Then, yes, Aditya, go ahead. There was talk in token is an inside day. It's holding the 12 EMA. Oh, 34 EMA nicely. Uh, if it holds 34, should see 35.50 and 36.35. That's about dock N. Yes, Aditya, go ahead. You can speak.
Sorry. I was gonna say
Casey, you want to
it,
speak?
oh I don't I'm just waiting for whoever wants to talk, that's all.
I'm not able to hear you.
Oh, can you not hear me?
It's a little
Hello?
like your voice is a little dull. Can you come close to the mic?
Yeah. I was gonna say for the list that you have, what are the kind of your top three names for tomorrow?
UPST is one, which I
Yeah.
mentioned Friday as well. There's a positive flow. I'm looking at MU.
So UPST, MU, and what's the last one?
It's Amazon. Amazon is inverted head and shoulders. So I'm going to mark this in blue. Amazon, MU. They are my top threes.
Yeah, that's good. Can you also take a quick look at KWeb?
China, yes,
Yeah,
that's when
China
I
name.
had
Yeah.
Baba. EWeb, it's bullish engulfing and not clear bullish engulfing, but it looks fine to me. If I'm looking at a 5-year chart, it's like really, really at the bottom. It's a very bad descending wedge. It was like 104, now it's like 23, almost 75-80% value is
Decline,
gone.
yeah.
It should not go lower than this. But I really
Yeah,
don't know what happened on Friday. There was some massive spike in Baba and Baidu on Friday.
yeah, all the Chinese names are rallying around like sometime in the afternoon. I didn't see any news out. I was just
I didn't find any news either.
yeah.
But it looks good. Let's check at the flow. The web. "24 calls for this week are there. 24 puts are also sold. Right now it's 23, 20, where it is 23. 24 puts are sold. 26 calls were bought. Looks positive.
Yeah, that picked him up on Friday on the reversal, but like I said, I didn't find any news out. It was just a lot of those names started rising.
Yep, they started to rise, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, then somebody's asking about ASML. ASML, like, it's fine, but the only problem with ASML is uh, its options are really badly spread. It's the inverted head and shoulders, a very nice one, but its options are really badly spread. So it's just a choice you want to use ASML or not. Boeing, I did current. It looked fine for a bounce, but it's right now mainly news driven. If there's no negative news, then Boeing should bounce. Let's look at the flow for Boeing.
Hmm.
There is some 220 calls on Boeing, 200 calls. That's just there. 220. Not much to say, but like this is interesting. 260 put were sold. Wow, March. The open interest wise, it's not clear, like from the flow, but from the chart, it should test 220, 221. Anyone else wants to speak?
Now, can you check crude and XLE? There is no immediate trade, but it's basing.
Crude is waiting for something. It's like I don't know, it's like a beer flag or something, but this is what is happening with crude. It's a beer flag. Whether it goes down or goes up, need to. But again, crude is very sensitive with respect to news. So anything wrong on the Middle East, this will pop really bad. But it's a no trade for now.
And
Either it break or break down. Otherwise, it's gonna be stuck here. XLE, same thing, like crude and XLE will go hand in hand. This may not be the year of XLE. It needs to test around this green line for me to do any entry. As of now, it's still far away. So I really wanted to consolidate, may come around 77. Then it may be a good entry. Otherwise, I'm not going to touch XLE.
thanks.
Yes. Indian ADRs, HDFC Bank sucked really bad on the earnings, so there's no point covering HDFC Bank. Tesla, Netflix is discussed. Oracle is the last one before I conclude. Oracle is shaping up nicely. It has moved up. Last week I was trying to get into 104 calls, and this week it just bounced really nicely from 104 to 110. I think it's a good inverted head and shoulders. Needs to clear 111 to give some positive, or let it cross 12 and 34. That will be a good positive momentum for Oracle. PanW and Snow. PanW, like again, these companies have been relentless. I really don't know whether they're going to have that kind of earnings or not. Because these companies, if they disappoint, they're going to be butchered. They have seen like parabolic moves in one direction just in the name of cybersecurity. Like as of now, it's making dodges at the top, which is clearly a sign of reversal. If it loses 332, I'm not definitely going to long PanW here. If it loses 332, I'll be shorting it. Snow needs to clear 194. 194 has been a pain for Snow. 183 is the base, 194 is the area. It needs to clear 194. If it does and hold, then Snow will run. Otherwise, it may fade one more time. All right, guys. Thank you. Yep, Crowd, PanW, Zscaler, all of them will behave same. Thank you guys for joining and giving me your 90 minutes. Hope you learned something and I was able to share my part of it. Hopefully, if I get time, I'll do this tomorrow. And I'll be sharing this sheet on Telegram on my channel as well as on Twitter. So please post your charts. I'll try to reply as soon as I can. Thank you very much. Have a good night. Bye-bye.